monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth.
So
Had anything really like experienced anything really profound?
I had this friend come and visit me. She was like a friend, like a hometown friend, and she had a little bit of acid where she had gotten it from like her some lady that she knew that lived out in the boonies also, who claimed that this was the same that she sold exclusively to Grateful Dead.
Okay, fun.
And so it was like a, so it came from like that source, that it was like this like very special, but she had the like bottom of the vial of it that she used on these tabs that my friend had. And we took a little bit, and then she was like, "Oh, let's do some more." And we did. And I remember that was too much. It was too much. And I remember feeling like we ended up going back to I'm going back to my...
How old were you when you were doing that?
This was like a couple of years ago. This was like a few years ago.
Okay.
So it wasn't that long. It was, yeah.
But so you had some experience with psychedelics.
I had a couple of experiences
like,
beforehand.
You wouldn't call yourself like a psychonaut, but like you weren't totally unfamiliar with what it was about to be like.
No. Yeah. So I mean, like I knew, but it was too much, is what I'm saying. So I had done stuff before, but it was so much that like I remember it was like painful, like right in the center of my forehead. Like I felt like almost like a painful amount. Mm-hmm. I remember it was so much. I remember thinking that like I saw Egyptian writing on my arms, and it was like glowing, and then that was wild. But the only thing that I was upset about is that then she introduced me to Doja Cat. And so I started watching this Doja Cat video, and then the song was just, and because I was at that level, then I made this connection to like the universe is Doja Cat, and then
everything is Doja Cat,
and I was like, and then I became like angry about the thing. I was like, I love that I'm having this like great experience. I was like, but I hate that it's now bound to Doja Cat like forever. I'm like, so
that's so funny. That's
I was like almost like mad at her for like.
It's like, bitch, why'd you put on Doja Cat while we're on LSD? Come on.
Which the video actually was great to watch because she's dancing and there's colors and and all this like we watched the video like 20 times at least.
Oh my god.
And then
That's
and then
so
it just
fun.
and the more times we were watching it, the more that I was like, whoa, the
more it was making sense.
Yeah.
The more you got it, just like the guy like the guy at the festival. I get it now. Like, I get it now. It's Doja Cat. Everything is Doja Cat.
Oh no. Yeah, I don't want to have that association to her, but now it's there.
That's so funny. That's such a funny deal. So how many, like if you had to guess, how many hits of LSD do you think you took that time?
Oh, I don't know, man.
Who knows? Just like
just too much. It was too much. That's all I know. Whatever it was, I was a painfully too much amount. It was
So I know you've expressed some general interest in DMT, but you haven't had an opportunity to try it yet?
I have not tried DMT.
Would you like to hear what my experience on it was like?
Sure, yeah.
So, the first hit, so like as I was saying earlier.
By the way, is this do you do this on all the podcasts? Do you talk about your DMT experience?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not on them all. Like, like we go in different directions. I just know that you're generally interested in it, and I figured it would be an interesting conversation. Like, you would appreciate it.
Oh no, that's fine. It would have been funny if it was like, this is a big lure just to like, all right, so now that we got through the first part of this, now it's time for my DMT.
We're gonna do the same humdrum thing we do in the podcast. We're gonna hear Josh's story about DMT. No, I think I've maybe mentioned this experience on one other podcast before. So it's not something that like I talk about a whole lot. And so, yeah, it'll be neat. I like to mix it with hash because it tastes like fucking mothballs. Like, it's gross. This stuff is gross. It's not the best tasting. And so I like to cut it with some cannabis, and I like to dab, right? Like, some people like to put it in pipes or whatever. I like to put it in, I like to mix it with hash. and like almost 1-to-1. And the first dab, you almost feel like kind of heavy, like it's a real big, strong indica dab. The second dab you take, you feel even heavier, and you almost start to like hear like humming in the room. You know what I'm saying? And you can like feel your voice echoing around in your chest cavity, and you can like feel your voice bouncing off the wall and landing back on your skin. Like it's like all the vibes, like you were saying with your LSD trip, all the vibes. You can feel all those vibes, and it's a really, really like physical thing, like surprisingly physical. And then the third hit, like it's not a hum anymore. It's more like someone lit the pilot light on a rocket ship that you're sitting on top of, and you can feel the whole thing just. It's like someone's shaking you around from your spinal cord, like your legs want to twitch. It's very physical. And at the third hit, it's like there's Fabergé egg art on the walls, like zebra stripes on the walls, and it's like the regular surface of the wall, and then Fabergé egg art. Regular surface of the wall, Fabergé egg art, and it's like emanating on everything, and you can see the surface of everything, but it's all got this wild Fabergé egg art zebra stripe pattern that's moving around on it. It's like, oh, your body's like everything's like that. And it's like an overwhelming amount of noise, and like you're not going to want to take the fourth hit. Like you're going to be like, I'm plenty high. Like I can just close my eyes and I'm high. And you got to take that fourth hit. And every time you hold it, like as long as you can, and you got to have like a good co-pilot, and like you take that fourth hit, and you just hand it off, and just sit back and hold it. And by the time you run out of breath, you're gone. You're gone. Like you're off in fucking hyperspace. And I had been told that once you go through like the ego death experience of it, like what makes you gets shattered to a trillion pieces, and then you're like off in like the place where souls go to like chill between incarnations type shit. And that's pretty much the same place. Like whether you took 10 hits of LSD and meditated, whether you took fucking 10 grams of mushrooms and got there, whether you took a bunch of mescaline, whether you took DMT, like they're all like going to the same place. You know what I'm saying? Like mushrooms are like a walk through the field. You know what I'm saying? LSD is like taking a spaceship, and DMT is like taking a fucking bullet train. And I had been told this, and so I wanted to test that. Like I'd already had really robust psychedelic experiences, so I was more like, I just want to figure this out and see if it's really what they're saying. And so I kind of like blasted through the whole experience, and I remember getting to that kind of end state of it and thinking to myself that like I had really done myself a disservice by not like taking in the sights and sounds on the way up. You feel me?
Oh. Yeah,
like the point isn't to get to the end of it. The point is to like really, really appreciate the come up, right? It's like I went to an art museum and sprinted through all the art just to get to the networking thing at the end, and being like, all right, what do we do? I made it through the museum. I'm here. What's up, guys? And they're like, well, you were supposed to look at the art on the way up. Like you were like, the point of going to the fucking thing was to look at the art, not to get to the networking. And so, but the whole thing was real neat. Like the whole thing was really, really neat. Like there were several like distinct stages of the trip. Like, and it feels like forever. And the whole thing's like, 5 minutes of getting high, hitting dabs, 5 minutes of being blasted off, and then 5 minutes of like recalibrating back into your body. And, but there's definitely like a chrysanthemum that you pass through. Like imagine it's just like a flower that just opens up in fucking front of you. You pass right through it. There's definitely like a room with like what you could almost call like little cosmic little elves, like little orbs of light that'll fuck with you. Like kind of like they're always laughing at you. There's a room where like everything's made of faces. Yeah, there's several like distinct stages. It almost feels mappable. Like whereas LSD and all those other ones like kind of just like make stuff come in weird angles, like where the foreground and the background meet in your regular reality. You'll start getting like neat colors and stuff kind of waving in, DMT is like, bro, you got literally your consciousness got plucked and set in like a navigable space out in the fifth dimension somewhere. And when I was if I made noise with my mouth, it would make shapes. Yeah. And like speaking like this makes just like the ugliest little like they're neat, but like they're not as cool as they can be, but like wow, those like big long weird ohm noises make the biggest, coolest shapes. And these shapes, like I was telling you earlier in the conversation about the forms of concepts, that's what you're creating, are these like forms of these like, you know, like all, well, somewhere out in the universe that noise has a meaning. And so whenever you make that noise, like it's already compact with all that meaning if there ever could be anywhere. And so there's some really neat stuff, some really, really, really neat stuff that you can do. But one thing that really kept occurring to me, aside from like, bro, you should have like really like taken your time and enjoyed the come up instead of just like getting out here. I went out there and it kept beaming into my head that like, this is what it's like to be Galactus. You familiar with Galactus from the MCU? From Marvel or whatever? Neither am I, really. I went and looked it up after this occurred to me. And apparently Galactus was the last living being in the universe, as, you know, like it went through the big crunch, right? It bangs and then it pow, pow. It was like a big cosmic heartbeat. And as it crunched and was about to pop again, Galactus was the last living thing. And so his consciousness, like, whenever it exploded, permeated every single bit of matter that there was in the entire universe. Like every single bit of that pillow, like Galactus is in there aware of what's happening. And that's what it was. And it kept telling me, like, that's what this is like. Like you can literally go anywhere. You can literally do anything. You can literally go and be an atom in a pillow if you want. You can do anything you want. And so for what felt like 100 lifetimes, you know, I don't know. I mean, I watched universes collapse in on themselves, man. I watched entire solar systems collide with one another. You know what I'm saying? Like shit that takes place over thousands of years. I was like watching in real time, like, wow, this is neat. And you know, it wasn't like as profound as it could have been for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'd already had some really profound experiences before, but it was definitely like really, really neat. I had a really good time with it, and I've done it several times since, right? And I've taken more time to like appreciate the come up and like make note of the rooms. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it's like. You know, to the best of my ability to describe it. One of the really crazy things that happened is when the trip starts to wear off, you get like a distinct sensation of falling, like you're falling, and you fall back into your body, and you know, like you, like all of it that you went through, like you fall back through the chrysanthemum. And I had my eyes closed and I was looking around the room and I could see everything, like with the Fabergé egg art surfaces. And I could see my cousin stroking his beard. And I opened my eyes, and he was still stroking his beard. And the point is that, like, I literally was looking at the room through my third eye with both my eyes closed, and was able to, like, distinguish surfaces and motion, and was, like, literally seeing what was going on in the room with my eyes closed. And, like, at first there was no distinguishable difference between with my eyes open and closed. And, like, as I, like, blinked more, it, like, kind of calibrated more. But like once you're back, like you're so like, I'm that high, but like, bro, it's nothing compared to what was happening 30 seconds ago, you know? And yeah, I think it's good. I think it's a good thing. I think that a lot of people could really, really benefit from those type of experiences. Show.
Monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth.